Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today we're going to be previewing the game against Chelsea at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Listen, I'd love to sit here for the next 20 minutes and talk about that Newcastle performance last night, the 3-0 win, the goal from Beto, the goal from Decore, the goal from McNeil, but the games come thick and fast, don't they? And again, on Sunday, we're back at Goodison Park. We've got another tough game against Chelsea. And why not, as always, get straight into the form guide? And Everton, 2 wins in a row now. Wouldn't we just love to make it a third and cap off an amazing start since the international break? And, we've got a relatively even record against Chelsea in the last 5. 1 win, 2 draws, 2 defeats. And, the top moment for me comes last season when at Stamford Bridge with that Ellis Sims late leveller and, to lift us out the relegation zone with that point, that was a fantastic little evening. But, the win against Newcastle last night, it's lifted us out of the relegation zone for the first time since the points deduction was put on us. And we'd only be 9 points off Chelsea. We'd actually be above Chelsea. We're only 9 points off them now. We'd actually be above Chelsea by a point after before the deduction. So again, that's just testament to where we are as a squad and how we're playing at the moment. But Chelsea, if we look at them, they're in okay form themselves. They've had a relatively difficult run. They've played Manchester City in the last few weeks. They played Manchester United, Newcastle, and their home form does seem to be better than their away form. So hopefully that's something we can capitalise on. They drew 4-4 with Manchester City. That was a fantastic game to watch, and a relatively unsuccessful win against Brighton. It was pretty unconvincing. I don't think they were too happy with their performance, and again, on the road, they haven't been fantastic. A 4-1 loss to Newcastle at St James's Park. And hopefully this is something we can capitalise on and just take it into the game and try and beat them. But, if we look to the team news now, and as you will know, James Garner was in a mission from the team news last night. He was taken ill with a sickness bug ahead of the Newcastle game, and it remains to be seen whether he will be fit for the welcome of Chelsea on Sunday. And as well, Amadou Onana, he's still touch and go. Dyche mentioned that in his presser on Wednesday afternoon that Amadou Onana would be touch and go for the game. So again, he would be quite a big miss in midfield, especially if James Garner's not fit as well. But we just have to take it as it comes and just hopefully we can get him back to full fitness soon. And again, Seamus Coleman, I thought he was fantastic on his return last night, wasn't he? I thought he dealt with Anthony Gordon very, very well. And he did go down with an injury and he did last about 65 minutes. So again, it remains to be seen whether he'll be fit for the welcome of Chelsea on Sunday. And, I think Coleman's one of those players that we know he's not going to play every game all season. A bit like Ashley Young, that they're both quite old players, and we know they've probably not got it in the legs to play every single game. But, it remains to be seen whether Coleman will be fit for Sunday. But I think he will be, a huge addition if he was to be fit. And as we know, Dele and Gomez, they're 2 players that, probably won't be fit for Sunday, but they, there has been some reports this week that Dele Alli is getting closer to a return and a reintegration into the squad. And I think he would offer another dimension in terms of creativity for Everton. I think he's one of those players there that, we'd love to see him firing in an Everton shirt. And, especially after everything he's been through in the last year or so, it'd be brilliant to see him back. But I don't think he will be fit for Sunday. I think he's more towards the back end of December. And, again, he can offer us something in the team. But if we move on to Chelsea, and Pochettino has hinted at a return for Romeo Lavia and their big money signing, Christopher Nkunku, who signed in the summer from RB Leipzig. And, a lot of Evertonians probably will be unfamiliar with him. Top player, in my opinion. I've watched a little bit of him in the Champions League for Leipzig and in the Bundesliga, and I think he is a top player. 22 goal involvements last season in 25 games for Leipzig, and he can offer us a little bit of a problem there. I think he is one of those players that he's an unknown quantity. A lot of people haven't seen him, and it'd be interesting to see how he deals with the Premier League. But Pochettino has hinted at a return. He was not available to make the squad against Manchester United on Wednesday night for Chelsea, but if he was to play against us, I think it offers a different threat, and I think we have to be careful of him. Again, another one, possible returns for Noni Madueke and Malo Gusto. They were out of the Manchester United game, and I think them themselves, they offer us a different dimension, a different threat, because Noni Madueke, he's not had a lot of game time this season for Chelsea, and neither has Malo Gusto because of Reece James. And I think Reece James did go off with a little injury on Wednesday night against Manchester United, so it probably will be Malo Gusto playing at right back if he is fit. One omission for Chelsea is Ben Chilwell. He will be not fit for the trip to Goodison Park on Sunday. He's going to be out till late December for Chelsea. I think he's a big miss for them because I think they work so well with 2 attacking fullbacks, and Ben Chilwell is a very, very good attacking fullback. So yeah, I think that's a good plus for us, and I think it's a decent gives us a decent chance on Sunday. But if we look at Chelsea's threats and the players that they have got fit, Raheem Sterling, he's in fine form this season, isn't he? Alongside Cole Palmer as well. I think Raheem Sterling's on 5 goals, and I think Cole Palmer's on a similar tally for the season. And I think they're two top players in an attacking sense. I think they have the big ability to hurt us. We saw it in the Manchester City game for Chelsea. I thought both Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer were fantastic in being able to break Manchester City down and hurt them on the counter attack. And Raheem Sterling, ex Liverpool, I think he'd probably quite like to get one over on Goodison, and he might get a little bit of stick like Anthony Gordon did last night. But yeah, for me, Raheem Sterling's one to watch. Another one to watch for Chelsea is Mykhailo Mudryk. I think his pace in an attacking sense, I think we've not actually seen yet how effective he is going to be in a Chelsea shirt. I think he's shown glimpses of him being a top player, but I think we're yet to see that. And I think he's one to watch for me. His pace against our fullbacks could leave us quite exposed. Ashley Young, Vitaly Mykolenko, they're not the quickest of fullbacks, and Mykhailo Mudryk is lightning quick. So we do need to be careful of him on the break. I think he's one of those players that could really hurt us. But if we look to Everton now, Dwight McNeil, I think he's the first name for me that's going to be crucial for us on Sunday. In fine form, isn't he? And he's brimming with confidence. Even himself, he said last night in his post-match interview, it's a confidence thing, and it helped him to get that Newcastle goal last night. The fact that he got his first goal of the season against Nottingham Forest on Saturday. So for me, I think Dwight McNeil's key. I think he was fantastic last night in breaking up the play in transition and just getting us up the pitch. And I think if he can take that performance last night against Newcastle into the Chelsea game, I think it's going to be crucial for us. 2-2, and I think we're now seeing the heights that he hit last season in an Everton shirt. I think we're now seeing that him getting back to that form, and it's every credit to him because he's worked hard. He's not had a fantastic season. I think even by his standards, I think he's even admitted himself he's not been fantastic this season. So to see him firing again in Everton shirt is great to see. And, it only helps us on Sunday against Chelsea. And another one for me, I would quite like to see start. And I know it's probably a little bit harsh on Dominic Calvert-Lewin because I did think he had an all right game last night. I think he was just, one chance away from having an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance. I think he did the simple stuff well. But for me, I think Beto, I'd like to see him start on Sunday. I think he offers us something different to Dominic Calvert-Lewin in a sense. He's a strong runner. We saw it last night, him getting in behind and just running straight with the ball and heading towards the Newcastle goal. And to see him get his first goal on Everton shirt and the way he celebrated in front of me in that corner at the Gladys Street, it was fantastic. And that 20-minute cameo he got last night, I'd love to see him try and build on that and get to a point where he's challenging DCL for a starting spot in the team. And, it's also smart to ease DCL back in, isn't it? I think DCL, he's had so many injury problems over the last 2 seasons. And we've seen it, in the last couple of weeks, he's had a calf strain. And just to ease him back into it and just make sure that we're managing his workload and managing his minutes. So, we don't see these injuries reoccurring and getting back to a point where he's going to be in a difficult position to play the rest of the season. I think that's where Beto comes in. And, after his first goal last night, I'd love to see him get another one in an Everton shirt on Sunday. And that's why I'd start him. I think he offers us something different, direct runner, and yeah, I think that's probably a smart thing to do for Sean Dyche. And another one for me is Pickford. I think last night he dealt with it so well, didn't he? We've seen in recent seasons, his performances against Newcastle haven't been up to scratch because their fans may get in his head a little bit, and the whole Newcastle-Sunderland rivalry is kind of gone to his head a little bit. But last night I thought he was fantastic. His wind-up antics as well at the end were brilliant, and in the last few seasons, he's performed some heroics for us against Chelsea. I remember that save in the first relegation battle season where he was on the floor and he somehow dived straight across the other end of the goal to keep it out, and we actually went on to win that game 1-0, didn't we? And I think again he's crucial tomorrow night, on Sunday night. I think if he can have a good performance and get to a point where we're just solid, and if any shots do come his way and he's in a position to deal with them, he can only help us. And I think Pickford's a top keeper, isn't he? And, the chance of England's number 1 last night at the Newcastle game certainly don't go unheard. And, he's a fantastic keeper, isn't he? But that's all. Let's go into prediction now. And I'm going to stick with my prediction that I said earlier in the week. And I'm going to go 1-1. But if you'd have asked me before the Newcastle game, would we have the potential to go out of the next 2 games, the next 2 home games with 4 points, I'd have snapped your hand off because, our home form this season hasn't been great. And, last night's performance was the key turning point for me. I think that was the blueprint performance for how we should beat these big 6, big 7 teams. Going into the last part of the season now, we're going to have to use that blueprint that Sean Dyche has created last night. to go into these games. Take the game to them. We know we're not going to have the majority of possession in these games, but take the game to them. High pressing. The 2 goals we scored last night, which forced Kieran Trippier into mistake. They were from high pressing from Jack Harrison, from Dwight McNeil, and for me, if we take that performance into Sunday, I think we have a very good chance. But for me, I'm going to go 1-1. I think 4 points from the last 2. I think that would be a fantastic return. And 1-1 for me. I think Chelsea, they've got some players coming back. Obviously, I said before, Christopher Nkunku. It remains to be seen what he will offer Chelsea. But yeah, for me, 1-1, I'd be very happy. And Dwight McNeil on the score sheet again. That's going to be my prediction. But that's all we've got time for this week on the Toffee Blues. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on this video in the comments. That's all for now. Thank you.